What's your name?
Hey everyone, I'm Shane.
Hey Shane. What car do you have behind you and why is it so special?
This is my 2004 Volkswagen Phaeton that I've been the proud owner of for the last week, having won it in the Everyday Driver auction.
Okay, what do you plan to do with it?
So I am planning to make this my daily for at least the next year, and my wife and I are talking about making this the family hauler. Getting rid of the Volkswagen Atlas and going up in size.
Going up in size, there you go.
Max, you like the Phaeton?
What Phaeton?
That's the Phaeton. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Can you say you like the Phaeton?
No.
Okay.
How's it drive?
It is the smoothest driving experience that I have ever had in my life. Well, I drove a Chrysler 300 once in Miami in a rainstorm, and we were kind of floating.
Well, the water helped.
The water helped.
Yeah.
Like that was a close second to this. You are just isolated from everything. It's your own world in there.
How is the AC treating you so far?
So I have not gotten to experience the AC issue because DC has been so mild. So we can actually go on camera and check that out and see, is the AC working or not?
We're gonna play AC roulette in a minute. We'll see if it actually comes on.
Okay. Well, my vote is that it is working.
At the moment.
At the moment.
At the moment. Does it feel like a Jetta XL? That's the real question.
You know, Jetta XL does not do it justice. I like the vanity plates, but it is so far beyond a Jetta in every way.
Way more than that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about coolant leaks in general? This is not a Phaeton comment, just in general. How do you feel about that?
Well, this is my first one, so I will let you know in a couple weeks.
Okay, please update us.
I did get a gallon of coolant, and we can show you the coolant leak spots on my driveway now.
Okay, so it's already leaving its mark.
Oh, it's already leaving its mark,
sure,
without question.
Do you like peeling Volkswagen Auto Group switches? Are you scared?
Am I scared?
That's a vehicle question, by the way.
It came off the transport, turned it on, and the engine started smoking right away. So the guys at Everyday Driver, and Todd specifically, let me know that there is a slight coolant leak on the trip from Utah to DC. The coolant dripped over the driver's side of the engine. And so the ride back was watching the temperature steadily increase as smoke was coming off the engine bay.
So a colorful experience within 1 week, for sure.
With the first drive, I got to feel the panic of Phaeton ownership.
Did you consider saying no when you found out you won?
Absolutely not. I think the response was hell yes.
All right, one last question.
Sure.
Can I drive it?
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Here we go. Todd said it was deceptively quick.
It is. You don't feel it though. I mean, it just feels like being pushed by butter. It's hysterical.
That is a great description.
Gosh. So it does feel and sound like a early 2000s Volkswagen. I will say that.
In what way?
Sunroof rattle for one, and as far as feel, the switchgear, obviously, that's happening up here, and the typical stuff in the touch points. Mm-hmm. But in its ride and drive, it feels nothing like an early 2000s Volkswagen, not even slightly.
Well, we should do a brake check. I mean, this is the show. You got to
officially do the brake check.
I'm used to Fiesta STs and this braking.
It still worked pretty good.
That wasn't bad.
I gotta admit. That wasn't bad at all. I was expecting that to be pretty terrible.
I've probably got another 8 inches.
Of course you do. So Shane, how's it feel to be in the back of your your Volkswagen Phaeton?
Let me tell you, it is comfortable. And I'm going to share one of the neatest features. This little foot wedge that I get to put right under the driver's seat, so my feet get to a nice little ankle stretch.
Oh, of course, because that's what every other car is missing.
Jeeves, just so you know, this is DC, and there's going to be a camera up there on your right.
Dude, cameras here.
Yes.
Thought we were in Europe for a minute there. So I will say, in the first 20 feet, you mentioned the Chrysler 300 earlier.
Yes.
When we were talking about this. I can definitely see that. It feels to me like a early 2000s Lincoln Town Car that is more competent beyond just wallowing.
Mm-hmm.
So it handles better than that. It doesn't ride quite as soft just in static roads, simple stuff like that, but it handles, well, so far much better. The seats actually have bolstering. It is powered by a 4.2 liter Audi derived V8. Mm-hmm. You know how much power it makes?
I have to look that up.
I failed to look that up. Look down below. We'll have it in the screen below. The best way to describe this is it's wafty. It's not thrusty. You could almost not spill your tea while you're flooring this car.
You can gently put mustard on your sandwich.
And get your Grey Poupon just right. Yes. Okay, so some things that remind me of early 2000s Volkswagens initially are obviously the buttons. They are peeling like they have leprosy. And the interior smells like leather, actually. You mentioned that to me earlier. It does. Volkswagens of yesteryear, as they melt and sit in the sun, they smell like crayons. This does not smell like crayons.
No.
Which I'm fascinated by. This car has a history of living in Florida, correct? Before
yes.
Todd had it?
Florida, then Park City.
So it's been kissed by the sun and drifted in the snow and blasted across the salt flats. So you've got a creep up of a Phaeton here.
There is salt still dripping off this car on a regular basis.
Of course there is. Of course there is. So let's talk about what doesn't work on the car. Right off the bat, I can tell you the power steering column does this, but it doesn't do this. It doesn't go up and down. Mm-hmm. There's an engine light, which I assume is just permanently on no matter what's happening.
Yes.
That's your experience so far?
I have not seen the engine light go off.
Okay.
It lets me know the car is running.
Sure, it just tells you it's on, right? That's what that means.
We have some issues with the windows in the back.
Okay.
So thank you, Todd, for child protecting them for me. So they are taped over.
Wait, so they'll go down but probably not come back up?
Exactly.
Ah.
So the children cannot play with the switches.
Okay. Good to know. Now, we tested this earlier, and the AC did work.
The AC is working.
Which is awesome. I'll take that.
The ventilated seats back here are working.
Wait. There's rear ventilated seats?
Yeah, yes, there are.
Oh, my gosh.
I am feeling a nice cool sensation.
Okay, so we at Brake Check refer to those in the region of Texas as a necessity. In fact, we joke about the rest of the country being a little bit silly with their heated seats because we need it for like 3 days a year, and we needed cooled seats almost 300 days a year.
You know how you put your hand over an air hockey table?
Yes, absolutely.
That is the sensation back here.
That's how I describe it all the time.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And there's like sitting on an air hockey table.
Wait till it's 100 degrees, you'll appreciate it. Now, it does have air suspension on all four corners, is that right? Which is adjustable. I have no idea how to change that, but
we have it in its lowest setting.
Which is the most comfortable setting, or the...
No, the sportiest setting.
Oh, the sportiest setting.
We are in the sportiest setting right now.
Well, no wonder it doesn't ride better than a town car. We're in the sport mode. It does feel heavier, I'll give it that, for sure. But you know, with a car like this that rides like this, it's not about making lap times or going as fast as you can. It's about being driven around in your own neighborhood, by chance.
Exactly. I need to hang out the window and do the wave.
What do you like about it most? I know you've had it for about a week, and a little background for viewers. This car was raffled off by the Everyday Drivers Show, which we actually met on at a meetup a few years ago.
Yep, in Utah.
In Salt Lake City, which is, not Salt Lake, Park City. I can see why Todd got this. I'm actually wondering why he got rid of it. I know there was a raffle, but it seems perfect for him.
I have to tell you, I was not expecting both how much fun it is to drive and comfort, right? The combination of the two.
Right.
It really does kind of beg the question of why get an SUV when you can get something
completely
of this class and quality.
So, here's some ball joints up front. So, or maybe that's just salt coming out, I'm not sure. So on Brake Check, we talk about this all the time. Obviously, crossovers have taken over the market. That's nothing new. The big sedan is all but gone at this point.
Yep.
And I appreciate you waving to your people.
I did.
Yeah, you let them know. But the point being is that cars like this do still exist. Not in the new market per se, but this car was purchased for $5,000 and then kept going for about another $7,000. And no telling what it's going to cost you in the next year. But Probably cheaper than a new Nissan Versa
Yep.
or a Rogue or whatever crossover.
Hang a left. We'll continue to saunter through the neighborhood, I guess.
That sounds good. We'll saunter. Oh, tire pressure monitoring system fault.
Okay.
Okay, so the tires have been monitored up until now. I'm not sure how we're going to make it home at this point. Okay, so some things that Todd had to do to this car. The front struts went.
Yep.
Was it both or one? Do you remember?
I think he had to replace both.
Okay, that sounds about right. Which is really unfortunate because that is kind of the biggest expense of maintenance items, right?
Yes.
So brakes, shocks, that kind of thing. That's the big one. Now the transmission in this feels smooth. It hasn't slammed per se, like I really thought it would, to be honest with you.
Now, transmission's been good, other than our coolant leak.
So talk about that a little bit. What's your plan going forward with the coolant leak? Are you going to just keep adding, or what are you thinking?
So Todd and I actually had a little conversation about on this. So
Okay.
he actually, it comes down to how long I'm thinking about keeping this.
Sure.
If it's going to the 2-year range, he said, get the head gasket done.
Sure.
If it's really, you can turn here. If I'm going to try to get through 10 months, I have a nice big bottle of coolant and can just follow his strategy.
That would be my strategy too, I think, because isn't it a very expensive thing to do?
Yeah, it's at least a couple grand at a minimum.
Okay.
One mechanic I talked to said, hey, why don't you just get a new engine and swap the engines out?
Interesting. That's an interesting theory.
He said, the aluminum's going to have warped and you're never going to get it right.
Right. So does it need a head gasket, or does it just need coolant lines, or what is it that's actually leaking?
So we are not quite sure.
So maybe a head gasket.
It may be a head
Okay.
gasket.
So that sounds like an engine change to me, but in all reality, that's not the end of the world. I mean, especially when the car is free, right?
Yep.
What are some of the features that this car has that obviously was unheard of in 04? This car is a bit of an engineering feat.
Yeah.
And kind of odd for Volkswagen to make in the first place under that nameplate.
Yep.
So-
And honestly, I was surprised. Like, I knew the seats were going to be phenomenal in terms of the heated and
they
cooled.
feel great, by the way.
They are amazing. The interior is incredible, and just hanging right up here. All the sensors. I am shocked that the sensors still work.
That's a good point.
So if you look up at the corners, right and left,
Yeah.
as you're pulling into your garage, you have sensors that give you proximity
Oh, wow.
warnings.
Is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So some of the things that catch my attention are the rear window shade, which we just discovered a minute ago. I'm kind of afraid to touch it, but
Oh, go for it. The worst that can happen
Fingers
is
crossed?
it gets stuck midway.
okay, it still works. So
It works.
The peasant blocker for the rear works. That's good. It does have these cool AC vents that flip up, which to me is like, could you imagine how your son or my son would feel about that? That's like the coolest thing on the planet, right?
That is the feature.
That is the feature when it works, of course. Now, I haven't put the stereo in here. How does that work out for you?
It is.
It exists, or is it?
It exists.
Okay.
It is a little disappointing compared to it's been used.
Okay.
It has been used. It's not the clearest sound in the world.
not quite crisp. So it's broken in as well.
It is broken in.
Okay. And again, the butter. I feel like there's
It
butter
is.
behind us that's just pushing us where we're going.
There's just a nice little,
It's a waft, right?
waft.
Yeah, in a good way. It has the Volkswagen flashlight in the ashtray, or the cigarette lighter, which was all the talk at the time in the early 2000s, because other Volkswagen guys would put this in their Jettas and their GTIs. The steering is actually semi-communicative, and that's where it's different from a town car.
Mm-hmm.
It actually talks to you a little bit. There's some German roots in there. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, and if you drop your finger down, I think there's a button. Your left hand, you can get a little massage as you drive along.
Oh my goodness. That existed then. That's fantastic. Pull UE or go in here?
If you
can?
If you can. Yeah.
Oh wow, look at that.
That wasn't bad.
Turning radius is pretty good. For a ship, that's not bad.
And you can tell, like, the coolant burns off, and then you're good.
And then you're good again. I will say, just walking around the car a minute ago, there is a waft of coolant in the air,
Oh yeah.
which is present. So that's a real thing. But again, still not overheating. We've been rolling around for a while. Now, something else interesting about this car is that it has how many batteries?
2.
2 batteries.
Yeah.
And so if one goes down, you turn the key a different direction to start with the other battery?
That is correct.
How bizarre. You would think that if it had the tech to have 2 batteries, it would just automatically go to the other battery. Like, car of today would just default to the battery that's working, right?
Yep.
The cup holders are amazing, by the way. You could land a helicopter on there and then go to your secret lair underneath. Kids would love this.
Oh, the kids, yeah.
It's fantastic.
This is a play space back here. It's so big.
That's a daycare center. Okay, well, I think that about wraps it up. Thanks for watching Brake Check, and thank you to Shane for sharing your raffle car with us. This thing is fantastic.
Hey, my pleasure.
Keep us posted on your adventures with it. Follow Shane on Instagram here below. And if you get anything cool from this, let us know. Thanks for watching. Take care.
And so the single greatest feature on this car and I hope it continues to work.
I will say, it sounds very industrial. It puts all the crossovers to shame. It's fantastic.